Hello everyone, welcome to the Historical Painting channel, where we explore and analyze important historical events through the most insightful and authentic perspectives. I'm Eric, and today we will delve into a topic that not only relates to history but also impacts modern geopolitics. Why does India always seek to occupy Tibet, China? Many of us might already know that in 1962, China and India engaged in a brief but intense conflict along their shared border. What's surprising is that despite the defeat, India has not abandoned its ambition to occupy Tibet. But what are the real reasons behind this ambition? Why is Tibet so crucial to India? In this video, we will explore the historical, economic, and geopolitical reasons behind this conflict. But before we begin, if you love videos about history and want to uncover more fascinating secrets, don't forget to subscribe to the Historical Painting channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. To better understand India's ambition to occupy Tibet, we need to go back to the early 1950s. At that time, India had just gained independence from Britain in 1947 and was on the path of development as a new nation. With support from Western countries, India began to expand its influence and sought to assert its position in South Asia. In this context, Tibet, a vast and resource-rich region near the Indian border, became an attractive target. In fact, Tibet not only held a strategic geographical position but also contained valuable resources that India coveted. This drove India to set its sights on occupying this land. In 1951, just 4 years after gaining independence, India made its first moves to occupy Tibet. India seized the town of Tawang, a key region in southern Tibet, and simultaneously, they unilaterally declared an extension of their border southward, leading to territorial disputes with China. India's occupation of Tawang and the expansion of its border resulted in China losing a significant portion of its territory. Among these, 120,000 square kilometers of land remain disputed to this day. China asserts that this is its territory, while India insists that it belongs to them. This tension has led to ongoing disputes and conflicts between the two nations for decades. The tensions between China and India did not stop with the occupation of Tawang. In 1959, the situation escalated further when India began military actions near the Chinese border. They not only occupied additional disputed areas but also launched attacks on Chinese border forces, causing significant casualties. At this point, the border situation became extremely tense. However, what surprised China the most was India's aggressive attitude. India even issued an ultimatum, demanding that China withdraw its troops from the border area and refrain from patrolling or conducting military exercises within 20 kilometers of the border. This was an unreasonable and provocative demand that China had never encountered before. Why had India become so confident? The answer might lie in the backing of Western nations. After gaining independence, India received significant support from Western countries, especially the United States. These nations not only provided economic aid but also equipped India with modern weaponry. Encouraged by this support, India began to harbor greater ambitions, aiming to become a major power in Asia, with Tibet as the first stepping stone. Meanwhile, China, with an economy still recovering from the war, faced numerous challenges, including strained relations with the Soviet Union. It was in this context that India believed it could easily seize Tibet without encountering much resistance. By 1962, tensions between China and India had reached a peak. As India continued to escalate the conflict and expand its attacks on the Chinese border, Chairman Mao Zedong faced a difficult decision. For 10 days and nights, he pondered, unable to understand why India wanted to attack China. But in the end, Mao Zedong made a decision: China would counterattack to defend its territory. On October 19, 1962, under the command of the Tibet Military District Commander, General Zhang Guohua, more than 10,000 Chinese soldiers crossed the Tibetan border and advanced into the disputed area with India. The war began with Chinese artillery shelling Indian military positions. Throughout the conflict, the Chinese army demonstrated superior tactics and combat capability. In one night, an entire Indian brigade was completely annihilated, leaving Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru in shock. Although India had mobilized its best forces, the 4th Infantry Division, which had fought in World War II, this army could not withstand the might of the People's Liberation Army. Within a few weeks, China had recaptured the town of Tawang and other disputed areas, advancing deep into Indian territory. Recognizing the dire situation, many residents of New Delhi, the capital of India, prepared to evacuate. The entire nation of India was engulfed in panic, fearing that their country would be completely destroyed. But after achieving its objectives, China unexpectedly declared a ceasefire and withdrew its troops. This move surprised both India and Western nations. This brief conflict not only brought victory to China but also forced India to reassess its ambitions. For more than 30 years afterward, India did not dare to repeat its previous actions. Despite being defeated in the 1962 war, India has not abandoned its ambition to occupy Tibet. In recent years, we have seen India continually engage in provocative actions in the border region, even leading to conflicts with China in 2020. So, what drives India to persist in its claims over Tibet? It can be said that Tibet is not only important to China but also holds special strategic significance for India for 4 main reasons. Firstly, the issue of historical borders. During the colonial period, Britain unilaterally drew a border between India and China, known as the McMahon Line. According to this, 90,000 square kilometers of Tibetan territory were transferred to India. After gaining independence, India inherited and used this border as a legal tool to assert sovereignty, even though China does not recognize this border. Secondly, the influence of Western nations. India has always received support from Western countries, especially the United States. This support extends beyond economic aid to political and military backing. Western nations have a vested interest in maintaining tensions between China and India to weaken China's development. This has made India a tool for the West in containing China. Thirdly, Tibet's rich natural resources. Tibet is not only strategically located but also a region rich in natural resources, particularly water. Many major rivers, such as the Yarlung Tsongpa, Brahmaputra River, and the Nujiang River, originate from Tibet and flow through India. Approximately 86% of the water in the Indian Ocean originates from Tibet, making this region the water tower of the world. For India, a nation facing a scarcity of clean water, Tibet becomes a vital lifeline. Finally, abundant mineral resources. Tibet is home to many valuable mineral deposits, including 7 major ore deposits and large quantities of oil. With thousands of tons of copper, gold, and lead zinc, Tibet is a highly coveted resource for India. Controlling Tibet would mean controlling these valuable resources. Tibet is not only an important part of China's territory but also plays a strategic role in safeguarding national security and economic development. With its rich resources and unique geographical location, Tibet has become a focal point in the relationship between China and India. Protecting Tibet is not just about defending a province of China, it is about securing the future of the entire nation. As we have seen, Tibet is an indispensable region in maintaining the stability and development of China. Any actions that infringe upon Tibet pose a threat to the prosperity and security of the whole country. Thank you for watching this video and joining me in exploring the historical secrets related to Tibet and the conflict between China and India. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Historical Painting channel so you won't miss any upcoming videos. See you in our next historical exploration journey.